Many would agree that there has been a war on beauty and fashion. How are these areas of culture redeemed and reclaimed? I've always loved fashion, and I have seen the ugly side of the fashion industry when it comes to modeling in Europe. But it was in China that the brutal truth about the fashion industry was unveiled from the manufacturing standpoint. And I had to let my stepfather know, yeah, you were right. When I was growing up, he would get so frustrated because I wanted to wear the designer jeans. And he said it's stupid to want to wear someone's name and not be paid to advertise. And then he said it was all made in the same factory anyway. And it was when I traveled to China that I realized he was right. Labels, lies, and luxury. It was in Guangzhou, China, where they make over, I think, 80% of all luxury items, including watches. And this is when I looked at a cousin who was traveling with me, really into designer labels, and she was shook because we're looking at all this expensive designer stuff that's so much money back home, but you could negotiate this stuff really down to almost nothing. And also, they had labels inside of these items that you never heard of, but you recognize, or rather, she recognized them to be some of her favorite fashion labels. So, this was quite an education. And me, I have a big foot, so over there, they're looking at me like, oh my God, she's a Nephilim. But they were letting me know that if I wanted to get anything in my size, that it wouldn't take them long, like a few hours. And I stopped to think about that. And the fact that they could make on demand something like that, the turnaround time being so quick that you think about the labor, okay, involved. And I know we have heard, but it's something else when you're there and you hear it and you realize, okay, so people are inside these factories being paid nothing, slaves, and they're making these designer things in the fast fashion and just the environmental concerns. And most of the people that are doing this are women and possibly children, even. So, what is the cost of fashion? And what's our responsibility to humanity? And there's a lot that can be said about the downfall of a lot of the fashion labels, a lot of them going through bankruptcy and having to pivot to attract younger audiences. We have Michael Kors, Tommy Hilfiger, Marc Jacobs, and Coach. All of these labels have had financial problems. And there seems to be a reset that is afoot. And I know it's not popular to speak the truth in our culture, but fashion leaves a lot to be desired. And this rebellion and war against beauty and truth, you could say, because you're not allowed to say that this stuff is ridiculous, but it just gets uglier and more clownish as the years go by. And we have to reverse this rebellion because that's what it is. It's a rebellion and it's been celebrated for far too long. And the public is gaslit on the fact that, oh, well, this is just the runway and it's more imaginative. But where does the runway and reality begin to merge? Because I get it, it's seen as high art, but there's a lot that can be said about art and how things have become so ugly, so degenerate. And it's time to reclaim these things because this is a really big part of culture. And in order to bring things back to beauty and balance, this is an area that really needs to be addressed. And there was a time fashion magazines used to be very enjoyable. And Vogue magazine over the years has really let me down. I do not enjoy fashion magazines anymore. And I know Anna Wintour recently stepped down. And, they say that she was the inspiration for the movie The Devil Wears Prada. So you make of that what you will. And her being so influential in the whole fashion industry, and especially the magazine, the print version, I don't know if magazines will have a resurgence. I've heard that some of the younger people are wanting to bring fashion magazines back, and maybe they are getting away from the online spaces and wanting more tangible things. But I want to explore this more. This reversal of the rebellion, the war on beauty. How do we again redeem and reclaim beauty and truth? Because at the crux, it is truth that is really under attack. So I would love to read your thoughts on this. I want to talk more about this because it is such a big part of culture. If you have any ideas, please share them. Thank you so much.